Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your man Jay, and it's time to talk about the 13-inch MacBook Pro. In a previous video, I talked about the discontinuation of the 12-inch MacBook, but now it is time to discuss the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and this is more on the positive side because, as you can see there, it starts at $12.99. But what they've done is they've added a few things that you had to get an upgrade before. So they've actually added the Touch Bar pretty much to all of the 13-inch MacBooks. As you can see in the center of the screen here, you have Touch Bar and Touch ID. It also has the T2 chip in there, so that's good. And, again, it's more on the positive side, but in fact, this is a huge mistake by Apple because they're screwing over, or they're really messing over customers who just bought the current generation. They don't know what they want to do, man. And not only did they add Touch ID and the Touch Bar to all of the 13-inch MacBook Pros, they're now quad-core to start. So this is a huge plus. So you've got Touch ID, you've got the Touch Bar, and now you've got 8 cores in this thing, man. This is something that, and this is the 8th gen processor, by the way. i5, but it's got the T2 chip in there. So this is something that, I don't understand Apple's way of thinking, but like I said, they're pretty much screwing over people who just purchased it because now you're getting everything that used to be considered somewhat of an upgrade and you had to purchase it. They now have it on the base model. This is good. So it says 4 and 6 and now 8 core. It's just crazy, man. So I'm logged into my military store here. I'll get out of this so I can go over and show you the pricing because I don't want to show you my pricing. You're going to say, oh, Jay, buy me a MacBook. But as you can see here, the 13 inches now, you've got the 8th generation quad core processor i5, and you've got the Intel Graphics 645 in here. And it starts with 128 gigs of storage, and they pretty much they hooked it up. You've got Retina, True Tone, Touch Bar, and Touch ID, and the T2 chip. If they would have added 2 more ports, or at least 1 more port to that, we would have some problems. But you can see here, if you go up now, you just get the 256 gig storage, and then over here, 256 gig storage, but you should have a bump in this one right here in the processor to 2.4 gigahertz. And then over here, you've got the 512. So these two right here on the end, these are the ones that were already there. But then you've got the new by these two right here because they've pretty much hooked everybody up, man. It's unbelievable how they've got these things spec'd out now. And it's like, I don't understand why they weren't doing this before, but they weren't. So you can actually bump this up. For $300, you can go up to the i7, which I don't know that you would need to, and then $200 you go to the 16 gigs of storage, and then down here they really start to rip you off straight up and down. So just start to rip you off with these memory options. Get an external SSD, folks, and you're good to go. But there you have it, man. Just a quick video. The 13-inch MacBook Pro now comes standard with Touch ID. Touch Bar, the T2 chip, and quad core. As you can see, there are no more MacBooks down here under there. So that is a huge plus, man. If you go over to the 15-inch, we already know that, both of these, are decked out pretty well. But Apple is doing the most right now, man. They are pretty much messing over their customers. And I hate to say that, but that's exactly what they're doing with this, man. They keep changing everything, and again, in my previous video, I talked about how they, took away the 12-inch MacBook and pretty much replaced it with the MacBook Air, and then also the iPads. Those are just killing the 12-inch MacBooks. But this 13-inch MacBook, I can definitely recommend it because the Touch Bar is something that I thought I wouldn't use, but this one not only has the Touch Bar, it has Touch ID, so it's pretty much the small versions. Now, it's equally matched to the 15-inch, I'll say, as far as what it's offering. I mean, again, you got that T2 chip in there, and you've got the Touch ID. Those two alone, logging in with your finger on the MacBook is totally boss. So I've been recommending the MacBook Pros to people. I will definitely recommend them again now that they're getting some serious upgrades. And I wouldn't be surprised if Apple pulled a slick one and dropped that 16-inch MacBook Pro this year sometime. But the kicker to that is, folks, here's the kicker to that. Here's why I wouldn't tell a person to wait on that, because the 15-inch MacBook, it's kind of bulky and it's kind of heavy. And it's pretty much something that if you're going to get that, you're going to want to have that hooked to a monitor in your office. But for that, you want to go with an iMac. You don't want to do the 15-inch. The 15-inch was too big for me after a while of carrying around. It was super heavy. I mean, it's like 5 pounds. The 13-inch, though, a perfect size. It's a good size. So, the Air is good, but the 13-inch MacBook Pro has probably always been one of their best sellers. And now that it's got Touch ID and a touch bar and T2 chip and quad core, it's going to be on and popping. So what do you guys think about that, man? Are you upset that you just bought a 13-inch MacBook Pro and you paid a lot more money and you didn't have some of these features? Or you just bought one? Are you going to exchange it? Are you out of your return period? What do? Do you keep it and suck it up? I don't know. It's your man Jay. I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to leave a comment down below. Take care.